I think you should do what works for you. I do have a sense that many a times just doing something in Python is far more easier, especially when you're doing something like what you mentioned, which is just tagging and uploading, which is fine. But I think that Nation, I think it's pronounced Nation. I know it's weird, but that's what they call it. But I think Nation has its advantages, especially when you're trying to do something a little more complicated, which might be like a little something like upwards of a 5-step process. And let's say now you want to add a little bit of intelligence, which is, let's say I want to look at, I can't really think of something right now, but let's say I want to look at all of the tweets from like the top 5 influencers in the financial space, who are probably giving tips on how they trade, and then sort of bifurcate that into their tweets that have had the highest amount of engagement, and then also further look at the type of media types that they have. This is a fairly complicated process, and it might need a bunch of steps. Now, you can still write a Python script for this. There's nothing wrong with it. The difference here is that because everything in Nation is a block, if you want to make a change to, let's say, oh, I just want to change this part in step 3 to now do this as well, you can just sort of replace that block. So incremental changes is faster. And it can also be done by a non-tech person because a lot of things are taken care of for you. You can deploy it, you can change it, you can version it, you can do all of those things. So we found it to be extremely effective in a non-tech, if the owner of that workflow is non-tech, which may be, let's say, a marketing person or a founder or something like that.
Okay. I love that. You can't give out Python scripts to to anyone else.
Yeah, you're like, what the hell do I do with this?
Exactly that. You do want to see that. And as well, if you have AI agents in the workflow, and you will need to have a conversation with it, as in, your workflow will run, and at some point it pushes everything to an AI agent node, and maybe that's an input for ChatGPT, and the output is not something you like. So you want to do a little bit of conversation, trim it down or improve it somehow, and then continue with the automation. Then Python doesn't work at all for that, because you're not going to have that ping pong situation that freely